Now to react, representing Georgia's 8th congressional district is Congressman Austin Scott. Congressman, it's great to have you back on the program. Let's start with this news that we only have about a month left, 25 days of diesel supply left. Now, in response, the Biden administration overall on energy, of course, they're blaming Russia and Vladimir Putin, but this can be traced back directly to the president, can it not?
Oh yeah, it goes straight back to him. He's put us in a dangerous position with regard to our reserves. And if you want to go back a couple of years, if you look back, President Trump actually tried to fill the reserves in March of 2020, at which point we could have bought the oil for virtually nothing. And it was the Democrats that stood in the way of it in the House and the Senate. So it's not just a Biden anti-energy policy. It is Nancy Pelosi, Chuck Schumer, all of the Democrats have stood in the way of what we need to do with energy independence. And just go back to 2020 when we could have filled the petroleum reserve, and they objected to it simply because it was a good idea that Donald Trump wanted to do. We should have that in our reserves right now. He's put us in a dangerous position. He's given OPEC more control over the economy than we have as the United States. And the guy's got to go.
Yeah, he certainly does. He has absolutely destroyed our emergency reserves. And the key word there being emergency, because these are not supposed to just be dipped into when it's convenient or when you want a little boost in the poll numbers. The strategic petroleum reserves are for crisis situations. And I guess it is a crisis situation, but it's a crisis that could have been avoided. It's an intentional crisis by Biden.
Yeah, he's clearly used it for political gains. The public sees through it, and they're still feeling the effects of inflation. The one thing we as Republicans can do if we get the House and the Senate back is we can adopt good energy policy and we can make him sign it. And so we need energy independence in this country. The number one thing that we could do to drive down the cost of inflation is energy independence and getting the price of a barrel of oil back to the level that it needs to be at. And therefore the price of a gallon of gas. And, I'm from South Georgia. We farm with diesel. I know that people are seeing reduced prices at the pump right now. We're not seeing that with diesel. And I can tell you, when we're putting the seed in the ground and when we're gathering the crops, it's all about the price of diesel. And so that impacts the price of our food supply and everything else in this country as well.
Now, another thing I want to get your comments on, Congressman, the Justice Department just charged more than 13 Chinese espionage operations here in the United States. More than 13 Chinese nationals. Merrick Garland commented on this the other day. Let's listen to a clip of that.
Over the past week, the Justice Department has taken several actions to disrupt criminal activity by individuals working on behalf of the government of the People's Republic of China. As always, the defendants in these cases are presumed innocent until proven guilty in a court of law. Earlier today, in the Eastern District of New York, a complaint was unsealed charging 2 PRC intelligence officers with attempting to obstruct, influence, and impede a criminal prosecution of a PRC-based telecommunications company. The PRC government forced the victim's nephew to travel from China to the United States to convey the PRC's threats to the victim's son. The defendants threatened the victim, saying that, quote, coming back and turning herself in is the only way out. As these cases demonstrate, the government of China sought to interfere with the rights and freedoms of individuals in the United States and to undermine our judicial system that protects those rights.
So far, 2 of the 13 have been arrested, and there's foreign intelligence spies. This goes really, really deep. Talk about a national security threat. This is the textbook definition of one.
Yeah, China is our enemy. I'm glad that they've made the arrest. The Confucius Institutes, those things need to be kicked off of our campuses inside the United States. And we need corporate America, candidly, to separate from China. We need them to be doing more business with Vietnam and other countries in Asia that actually share our interest. Vietnam and others can produce things over there in the same price range that China can, but we need American industry, corporate America, to actually separate themselves from China. China is our enemy, and corporate America continuing to send them U.S. dollars in business is not in the best interest of this country.
Yeah, but unfortunately, I think it would be really nearly impossible unfortunately, to try to get someone like the NBA to cut their business ties with China. What can we do on a legislative level and on a cultural level to try and push for something like that? I love the idea of cutting ties with China. I don't want them making a single buck off the U.S. I would love to bring all the manufacturing there, take it from there, bring it here, or outsource it somewhere else that isn't full of communist hacks. So how can we push for that in coming years?
Yeah, so expanding trade agreements with other countries that share our interest. Some of them won't share our values, but share our interest and are not our enemies the way China is. I think that's one of the things that Congress can do. We tried to do it under President Trump. We got some good moves on trade under him. And if the Biden administration will work with the Republicans in Congress, you could actually see additional trade agreements passed. But historically, the Biden administration, he hasn't even spoken to the majority of the members of my party. I can tell you, I think 3 members of the Republican Party that have actually had a conversation with Joe Biden since he was elected president of the United States. And so if he's not going to talk with us, it becomes hard for us to get to an agreement on the trade agreements and other things. So he's not a good president. Unfortunately, he's going to be the president for another 2 years. If the public gives the Republicans control of the House and the Senate, we're going to make him do some things that he doesn't want to do, and we can achieve that energy independence, I believe, inside the United States if we have the House and the Senate.
Yeah, hopefully so. Congressman Austin Scott, great to have you back on the show. Thank you.
Thank you.